Imagine this: federal agents, some of the best investigators in the world, suddenly pulled off critical assignments, not to catch violent criminals or stop terror plots, but to quietly sift through 100,000 pages of files connected to one of the darkest scandals in modern memory. Their mission? To make certain names disappear before the public ever saw them. That's the allegation that sent shockwaves through Washington. What followed wasn't just a tense back and forth in a congressional hearing, it was a rare, unscripted moment when the mask slipped, and America got a glimpse at how power really protects itself.
Actions that run contrary to getting everything out, and that also involve diversions of FBI resources. For example, an FBI whistleblower reported that you were pressured by the Attorney General to place 1,000 personnel on 24-hour shifts to mine roughly 100,000 Epstein-related records to redact President Trump's name from the files. Bloomberg reported this, that you directed FBI special agents from the New York and Washington field offices to join the Bureau's FOIA employees in Winchester and another building a few miles away, and that while reviewing the Epstein files, FBI personnel identified numerous references to Trump in the documents, and people familiar with the matter said that Trump's name, along with other high-profile individuals, was blacked out. Now, the New York Times reports, and this is a quote, Justice Department officials diverted hundreds of FBI employees and federal prosecutors from their regular duties to go through the documents at least 4 times, including once to flag any references to Mr. Trump and other prominent figures. Details of the review were based on accounts by 3 former FBI and Justice Department officials who spoke on condition of anonymity because of fears of retaliation, and further that the FBI finished, after they finished its review of the files and materials, was sent to a team of Justice Department lawyers who double-checked the FBI's redactions and, quote, were instructed to flag any mentions of Mr. Trump and other celebrities. Now, I have 3 questions for you, Mr. Patel, about this. First, how many times did President Trump's name appear in the Epstein files? Was it more than 100, more than 1,000? Were the agents who were pulled from their duties to redact the president's name from the Epstein files working on criminal cases or national security cases or child sex trafficking cases? And are the number of agents that have been reported diverted for these purposes, is that accurate?
No.
No what?
You asked if it was accurate. I said it wasn't.
So you're saying that none of this happened?
No, I'm saying it was inaccurate.
Okay. How many times did President Trump appear in the Epstein files? More than 100? More than 1,000?
No, and what we've been able to release is what we've been legally able to release, and that has
No,
been
that's not the question.
public.
I asked you, how many times did the president's name appear?
I don't know.
It's your testimony. You do not know that answer.
The number of times, no.
Could you tell us how many agents were diverted for this task and what they were working on?
Well, when you say diverted, you make it seem as if agents were pulled off what they do all the time. Agents at the FBI masterfully do double duty and triple duty. And because of the public's interest in this case, we flexed resources to make sure that we could answer the public's signal demand. So do you want us to look through the material and provide it to you, or you do not want us to do that?
So it's
Which
your testimony that no one was diverted from a criminal matter, that this was a top priority to go through this material to look for Mr. Trump's name. Is that your testimony? That's the highest priority for the FBI?
What's one of the most impressive things about the FBI leadership and the careers that are in place is that they make the decisions on who to send where on priorities and make sure the mission needs are not hurt. And that's what happened here.
It's shocking to me that the FBI would think that erasing Mr. Trump's name from the Epstein files is a high priority when we have crime, we have national security threats, we have terrorism threats, we have murders such as that occurred, unfortunately, with Mr. Kirk. It's shocking to hear that that's your highest priority. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
That's literally not what I said.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
A veteran lawmaker known for her precision looked straight across the table at the FBI director and asked a question the entire country had been wondering: how many times does that name appear in the Epstein files? 100? 1,000? 10,000? The response was silence, then a stumble. No, followed by confusion. No, it's inaccurate. But inaccurate how? He didn't say. In that instant you could feel it, the tension, the dodging, the desperate effort to say something without saying anything. It was the kind of moment that reminds you why congressional hearings matter, because every now and then someone presses too hard for the truth, and the facade cracks. And as this exchange unfolded, one question hung heavy in the air. If none of this is true, why does everyone look so nervous? But let's back up for a second, because this wasn't just any rumor. It started with multiple credible reports. Bloomberg, the New York Times, and even whistleblowers inside the Bureau painted the same disturbing picture. Hundreds, some say nearly 1,000 agents reassigned from major criminal and counterterrorism cases. Their task? To comb through the Epstein archives and black out any mention of certain high-profile individuals. Those individuals weren't low-level players. They were names that carried immense political power. Names whose exposure could shake the system itself. Reports suggested those redactions were double-checked by Justice Department lawyers, carefully flagged and cross-referenced before any documents reached the public. When questioned about it, the FBI's response wasn't denial, it was a dance. Inaccurate, the director said. We flexed resources. Bureaucratic phrasing that sounded polished but hollow, because behind the words, something didn't add up. The Congresswoman tried again. Were these agents pulled from national security cases, from child exploitation divisions, from organized crime units? He said no, but then quickly added that agents do double and triple duty. It was a masterclass in evasion, a refusal to say the thing out loud that everyone in the room already suspected. But this wasn't just about one man's discomfort under questioning. It was about what the moment revealed. How the pursuit of truth gets tangled in politics, and how the system shields itself when the stakes are too high. The Congresswoman wasn't there to score points. She's a lawyer by training, someone who understands how oversight really works. Her goal wasn't to get a dramatic confession, it was to put denials on the record. To lock those words in, so that when the next whistleblower surfaces or the next leak drops, there's a paper trail. That's the real art of congressional inquiry, setting traps for the truth to walk into later. But beneath the political theater, there's something much bigger going on. The fight over the Epstein files isn't just about redactions or records, it's about whether justice in America still operates on principle, or if it now bends for power. Because redactions, by definition, are supposed to protect privacy or ongoing investigations. They're not supposed to protect reputations. And when powerful people are the ones whose names vanish behind black ink, the message to the public is chilling. That influence buys invisibility. Think about it, every agent pulled from a trafficking or counter-terror case to review those files meant one less person chasing real criminals, one less case pursued, one less child protected, all to make sure certain names never see the light of day. That's why this exchange matters. It's not about partisanship, it's about priorities. Who gets protected, and who gets left behind. And if those reports are even partly true, it means the system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed, to protect the powerful from accountability. The director's answers only deepened that suspicion. When pressed, he didn't know how many times that name appeared. He didn't say who ordered the redactions, he didn't confirm or deny the whistleblower claims. Every answer was a blur of vague defensive language, enough to sound official, but not enough to reveal anything. That's not transparency. That's the art of concealment. But here's what makes the moment extraordinary. For once, someone in Congress refused to let it slide. She called out the absurdity directly. It's shocking that the FBI would think erasing a name from those files is a high priority, she said, when we have real threats, murders, terrorism, organized crime. That statement cut deeper than any headline could, because it exposed a moral contradiction. When the nation's top law enforcement agency prioritizes optics over justice, it stops being a protector of truth and becomes a shield for power. The Epstein case has always carried that shadow. It's a mirror reflecting how privilege, influence, and silence intersect. From the start it was never just one man's crimes, it was a network, a culture of protection that allowed him to thrive. And even in death, that culture continues, buried under layers of redaction and denial. Every time the files are scrubbed, the message is clear, accountability is conditional. That's why the Congresswoman's questions matter more than they seem. They're not just about one hearing or one official. They're about the principle that no one, not billionaires, not politicians, not anyone should be above the truth. But if you zoom out, there's another dimension here, the broader culture of secrecy. Over the past few years we've watched the idea of transparency become weaponized. Each side accuses the other of hiding something. Every investigation becomes a witch hunt. Every document dump turns into political ammunition, and lost in that chaos is the simple essential goal, accountability. That's what this exchange tried to bring back. The idea that the public deserves to know, not because it's political, but because it's democratic. When the director dodged, it wasn't just one man protecting his agency, it was the sound of the system protecting itself, and that's why people are angry. Because justice isn't supposed to depend on who you are or what connections you have. It's supposed to depend on truth. And yet here we are still debating whether the names in those files are too dangerous to reveal. Still arguing over who gets exposed and who gets erased. You can feel the irony. The very investigation meant to uncover exploitation is now accused of exploiting its own power to hide information. That's not justice, it's control. The Congresswoman's closing words captured the heart of the matter. When removing a name becomes more urgent than revealing the truth, she said, something is deeply wrong. She's right, because the issue isn't just who's in those files, it's why we're not allowed to see them. And maybe that's the real reason these hearings feel so tense, because they're not just about names, they're about trust. Every evasive answer chips away at the belief that our institutions still serve the people. Every no comment reminds us how far we've drifted from accountability. This story isn't about one person, it's about a system that's learned to survive by hiding behind process and protocol. It's about the quiet machinery that decides what the public is allowed to know, and that's why this hearing resonated far beyond Washington. Because everyone watching could see the pattern, the careful language, the nervous pauses, the polished deflections. It's the same performance we've seen for decades, dressed up in different suits, under different administrations. But the truth doesn't go away just because it's blacked out. It lingers. It waits. The Epstein files have become more than evidence. They're a test of whether our justice system values truth more than comfort. And every unanswered question pushes that test closer to failure. In the end, what we witnessed wasn't just a clash between a lawmaker and a bureaucrat. It was the latest chapter in a much bigger story, the struggle between transparency and control. And as long as that struggle continues, the same question will echo, who is the system really built to serve? So maybe that's where this story leaves us, not with answers, but with a challenge. To demand more. To question harder, to remember that every classified file, every redacted name is a reminder that sunlight still terrifies the powerful. Because the moment we stop asking questions, the moment we accept secrecy as normal, that's when accountability dies. If you believe that truth deserves daylight, that no one should be shielded by influence or status, then don't just scroll away. Hit the like button, subscribe and share this video. Because transparency doesn't happen by accident, it happens when people refuse to look away. And maybe one day, when the full story finally comes out, we'll see who was really protected and why. Until then, we keep watching, we keep asking, and we keep shining light into the dark.